And we're live.
Hey, hey,
Okay,
hey.
we were 6 seconds late, but we were 2 seconds early last time. So
So we're 4 behind over
yeah,
the aggregate for the
we'll
last two.
we'll sort it out next time. 4 seconds early, then we should be on time. Anyway, hi everybody, welcome back to Crypto Talks. My name is Phil, and I'm joined as always by Rob.
Hey, hey.
Yes. So today is TA Monday, and I think not much has happened since last time we've been talking about this for the past, I think, almost 3 weeks, right? Where it's just been, the weekly candles have been like the body is nothing, and then there's huge wicks up and huge wicks down. So we're literally just three doji candles. I think they're called doji candles on the weekly, which is just super boring.
It's super boring, but it's a sign of consolidation. It's a sign that we're very in. This is an indecisive point. This is a point where yes, we're pressing up against resistance, but the price is not correcting. The price is going sideways, and this is what you want to look for before a continuation breakout.
Yep.
So it's as the more it carries on looking like this, then the higher the likelihood of a break upwards.
Yeah, and today actually, I'm gonna open up the charts now just to keep everybody in on this. So let's see. I should have done this before. There we go. This little wick that we had up to 29, I think it was 29,200, pretty much exactly, on March the 30th. Yes, March 30th. We're basically sitting on that right now. We did wick above that just briefly. I'll go to the 4-hourly actually for once and show what that looks like. This is basically the range. Obviously, the range is slightly upwards, which is good, but it's been holding this old resistance that we've been talking about before. And if this candle today, the 4-hourly candle, or even the 4-hourly would close, which is in about less than an hour, right? This 4-hourly, if this closes above this, then that's a bullish sign, because that's the first time a candle is going to close above this, which is where it's tested it a few times before. And even if it closes it above the above 29.2, then that's even better, obviously. Right now, I believe I was looking at the 1-hourly actually just briefly, and I saw this huge wick kind of forming on the hourly, which doesn't mean much, but at that point when I was looking at this forming, I was like, okay, maybe we will see some kind of turn down here, and this, it won't work or whatever. But looking at this here, it's like, okay, I mean, even if it starts correcting down here now, on the shorter time frames, we might be able to see the Bollinger come back up here. We might see some stuff resetting here to give it the ability to maybe actually bounce on this level, which is potentially what's going to happen, but we'll have to wait and see. I think the general sentiment, I think, on the market is, I think a lot of people are waiting for Wednesday, which is when we're going to have inflation rate year over year come out. Forecast is 5.2 and previous was 6. So if that's the case, then great. It's funnily enough, the core inflation year over year is actually forecast is 0.1% above what it was last time, which is a little bit funny, but
it depends on what makes up. It depends on what makes up, say, that core versus the full CPI is, say, if what we find is that with core takes up, it's got a lot more of the things like, say, housing, which has been very sticky and is continuing to sort of that has not come down in the same way that other things have. So that component of inflation is higher than the main.
And we said on Saturday that we were going to try to potentially do a video on the inflation and everything on Wednesday if we can. just go over the numbers and everything. I'll try to do it myself if
Yeah.
Rob cannot be around, which is fine.
I'll see.
I'm
sure we
we'll
can.
see. That would just be a short one. So we're not going to do.
Yeah, I think Wednesday I can do. So
Yeah. So okay, cool. So we're not gonna do that now. We're gonna stay away from that talk because we tend to talk.
we
but
tend to talk.
So I was actually supposed to be writing down some bullish stuff that I saw and some bearish stuff, and see if we could argue against both here. But I didn't have time because I had to do other stuff. But what I did manage to write down though is something that I noticed, and I think we have talked about this previously as well, which is the fact that the volume is completely gone, basically.
Yeah.
And when you look back in Bitcoin's history, when we came down to this area where we had our bottoming range that we kept talking about, that was holding the entire time. Everybody who's been here watched us for the past weeks, or it must have been, I think we did the first one in the beginning of January. Since then, we've been saying the same thing around this range, right? But once we came down here, that's when the volume started ramping up, and kind of we had a lot of volume in this area, which means a lot of people want to buy at this price probably, and a lot of people like to trade here. And going backwards, and I think I might go to weekly on this just to make it simpler to look at. As you can see, the volume here, like I said, in this range has been absolutely staggering. And then you compare that to like previous bull run, the volume is pretty high. During bull run, obviously that's the case. You get a lot of interest, a lot of people want to buy and sell and all these things. But then when you start reaching tops like these, the volume is basically gone. So after this, I think
one thing worth looking at though is to take the same chart and have a look on the Coinbase chart, which does paint a bit of a different picture. It's only the Binance. It's the Binance one.
I was going to look at the BLX.
What's really, really exploded. Yeah, well, there you go. So that's the overall picture.
Yeah,
so
precisely.
But what to me is very interesting is how much the Binance volume has exploded versus the other exchanges, which to me is probably likely indicative of that much of this volume, much of this buying it's not coming from the US. It's it's coming from places that can trade on Binance, and this is kind of what we were talking about in the last video where we were discussing about the dollar. People talk about the dollar collapsing, but all of the other currencies are collapsing more. Is like here's kind of the evidence of it. It's foreigners that need Bitcoin far more with far more urgency than Americans do, or that the British do, or that you do, because we have much more stable sort of reserve currencies.
Yep. No, it's funny you should say that, because I was going to ask you about that, but you got to it before I did. But what I was going to say is, one thing that might suggest that there's some sort of topping out here is because we have this huge ramp up, and then we get to this point and volume just completely dies down. Like it has around this area. You can see this big, we had the previous the technical, I guess, the real all-time high up here. We had the dump down here, and then it bounced back and it created a higher all-time high, which is kind of technically the higher the all-time high, but this one is probably more like the real one, so to speak. We're not going to get into that too much.
No.
But as soon as we got to this point, you see this huge volume here, and then there's like almost nothing for a long time down here. And then once we get past all this stuff and get into this range, this is when like you said, everybody in the world except the Americans started buying Binance. Basically. It's pretty telling to me that you have this is where everybody wants to buy. Everybody was waiting for something like this, and then when you get to like a decision making area in price action, volume just goes completely away, which means to me nobody really wants to buy, but they still don't want to sell because they're not sure if it's going to go up or down. So people are sitting there waiting. I know for myself, I'm sitting on my holdings. I'm just waiting for something to happen. If it goes up, I'm just going to wait I'll just hold it, right? But if it starts dumping down and starts creating that, the classic, oh, it's topping out, then I'll probably sell off and try to buy back, on the way down.
Yeah.
To the levels that we're looking at. And I think that's what's going on with most people right now. And another thing that I think I wanted to mention as well is the indicators are kind of saying different things a little bit, because
yeah,
RSI is not in overbought territory yet. It's at 66.6 on the daily. And that, we can, of course we can pump, but we can go all the way up here to like 90, 90.
Yeah.
There's nothing stopping us from doing that. Well, there's things stopping us, but there's nothing that suggests that it's not possible, right? So we could see that, and does that mean that we're going to go to 36 that we've been talking about before? That's from here, that's I think a 25% pump, 25% pump. That's not unheard of for Bitcoin.
That's just called Tuesday for Bitcoin potentially.
Yeah,
it's not. This isn't. This
is 40, right?
Yeah.
Like, so for sure it's possible, and this is why I'm personally just waiting. However, the MACD on the daily is actually turning from red to pink right now on the histogram, which would suggest that it might have some momentum up to when it flips. It could go and create a big green one, which would result in some kind of price action up towards whatever it might end.
Yeah.
So there are, I think, more bullish technicalities that suggest a bullish move is about to take place. But then, when you really zoom out, you start seeing, the bigger picture. Suddenly it feels bearish, long-term feels bearish, long-term, mid-term feels bearish, short-term feels bullish, but then, super long-term feels very bullish because it's Bitcoin, right?
Yeah.
So, yes. Any thoughts, Rob, on any of that?
Really, this is kind of because of where the indicators are sort of sat, and as I say, there's mixed signals. This is that one, to me, I would prefer to simply just look at the price action, just look at the trajectory of the charts, nothing more. We're in an uptrend. We have just, within the last couple of hours, say within, you're talking about the 4-hour candle coming close, we're about to break out higher after a very big, a decent duration consolidation. What are we talking about? 3 weeks here of consolidation?
I believe 3 weeks, something like that. Yeah, 23 days or something.
So after a huge pump, and we said this is a very risky period. Be very wary buying up high. A correction is likely, but we can have a correction in time as well as a correction in price. We've had a correction in time, and currently are trying to break out. There's no, I know. Yeah, we've got called a perma bear last week for saying there's a lot of things that really don't look good, and at some point Bitcoin's going collapse. But where does it collapse from? And as it stands right now, this is a bullish chart, moving bullishly and breaking higher, and it's that simple. It is. We're an uptrend now. What is kind of, I do think sort of should be added to this is, as we've kind of said, we have been saying for repeatedly, this is Bitcoin season. This isn't a time when altcoins are really going to shine. And I'll just pop my screen up a second.
You may.
I may. So I have a lot of coins on my watch list, and
sorry.
yes, so I've got a lot of coins on my watch list. There's something like 200 here. Some of them are absolute dog shit. Some of them are stocks. Some of them are just everything. Now, this is my orange list. Is my altcoin to Bitcoin pairs, and let's just take a very quick look, and you'll see that of the 40 pairs I have, 3 are in the green against Bitcoin today, and none of them by more than 1% or 2.
Yep.
Other than that, significantly across the board, you have got this -1, -2, -3% breakdown of price versus Bitcoin for all of these altcoins. And if this breakout follows through, we'll start to see this more and more. This is not altcoin season at all. Bitcoin is leading the way, and yeah, if you're in alts, even if you're in the right alts and you think that, oh yeah, this one's going to the moon and this has got a chance to make much bigger gains than Bitcoin, you may well be right, but it could also drop another 80% before it turns around and makes those gains. So being opportune in where you are positioned can really, really help to preserve not just your dollar capital, but also your Bitcoin capital.
Yeah, I think in response to that, a lot of it's Bitcoin season, which would suggest that when things move, Bitcoin will move first, and it will move more. So and then you have these people arguing, oh, I should hold the Polygon, Solana, whatever, instead of Bitcoin because it's going to pump harder. Like, yeah, over possibly, but it's like you said, yeah, possibly can go down 80% more. It could. Maybe that's that's a bit harsh, but the point is that if Bitcoin goes up 5% and Solana moves, for example, or ETH moves 3%, then you've lost 2% of Bitcoin. If you just had Bitcoin there, and then you would, some people have trading bots that would trade Ethereum versus Bitcoin. So when Bitcoin moves up in value, it sells some Bitcoin for some cheaper ETH.
Yeah.
When that means that once Bitcoin or ETH then pumps, and let's say you stop that bot, and then you have more ETH that will pump faster than Bitcoin at that point after Bitcoin season is over. So, personally, I don't dabble too much in that because there's too many things going on.
It's very, very easy in theory, and it's much, much harder in practice. It's having been a degenerate shitcoin peddler for multiple years. Yes, you can make some really, really big gains against Bitcoin. Very, very often you can find yourself losing out, and if you're if you're in the wrong trade, yeah, you can start to see your Bitcoin value really, really dwindle, and it hurts. It's not nice.
No, it's not the greatest feeling ever, for sure. But this is
so. I'll just present. Just put my screen back on a sec.
Yeah,
this is Quant on the Bittrex chart. So this goes all the way back to like July, August 2018, and Quant, for people who know about it or people who don't know about it, even that, like, it's done very, very well in the last bull market. It's it's continuing in an uptrend versus Bitcoin. This is the Quant to Bitcoin chart, but within here you can see an 80%, another 80%, and we're currently on 64-ish% drop.
Yep.
So if you can time the bottoms and actually pick up these altcoins when they're relatively cheap versus Bitcoin rather than when they're relatively expensive, and obviously by timing bottoms, I don't mean precise bottoms, but by DCAing when the market says this is the time to be positioned into altcoins, and there are signs, and we will be mentioning them, then yeah, you can make a hell of a lot more in terms of trading investment by being clever with when to invest in altcoins rather than just going, oh, altcoins are going to make more gains than Bitcoin.
Yeah, no, precisely. And there's luckily, and this is trying to keep track of all these things. I think if you dabble in too many things, at least for me, because I like to really keep track of exactly what's going on with each of the coins that I have, and I only have 4 in my portfolio, which, I mean, Rob thinks I'm super boring, and I know I'm boring. It's just that's the way I am. I like to really think about it, hold it long term, maybe make some small trades and swaps in between, but that's me. That's just the way I am, right?
Yeah.
And Rob is what did you call it again?
Degenerate shitcoin trader. Yeah, degenerate shitcoin peddler. That's the one.
Yeah. So for those of you who have been with us for a while now, you know that we're working on strategies that we are going to put into TradingView and make available for people on Patreon later on. And that suddenly makes things a lot easier in terms of keeping track of things, right?
Yeah.
So I did want to mention, though, that since we talked about Bitcoin versus ETH and Bitcoin versus Solana and all these things, the strategies that we're creating, they work for those too. And I'll give an example here just for fun. So this is Rob's screen. There we go. Here's the strategy that we don't have a name for it. We just call it the
It's
Crypto
called
Talk
Phil
Strategy 1. Well, I named it just Crypto Talk Strategy number 1.
That's even more boring than Phil Strat.
Yeah, I know, it's super boring. No, but as you can see, this is ETH versus Bitcoin, right? So it works. It hits fairly close to tops and it buys fairly close to bottoms. And I think percent profitable is 65.5%, and that's going back like way back. For this region right here, it's almost 90% profitable, I would think. So this stuff works, right? And if you are going to try to meddle with these type of things, having your own strategy or using one that's been tested by others is probably not a horrible idea either. But I just thought I'd show that. And there. Oh damn it! I killed my screen, but that's fine. I don't really have much more to show. But yeah, I think today's show is going to be a bit shorter than normal because literally not much is happening.
Well,
it's just
nothing had happened until we broke out, and now we broke out. It's okay, cool. We're breaking out. Are we going to sustain it or not?
Yeah,
that's I mean, say it is.
You know, you could argue.
I mean, we can talk about targets from here, I guess. Which
we can.
I don't really expect much more than I kind of expect this squeezy, flaggy behaviors to kind of continue. Maybe it'll take a bit of a leg and then it'll just sort of flag again. And if it's going to keep sort of going through this squeezing, these short squeezes, then it could. It's kind of just, where's the next resistance? Where's the next resistance? The next resistance is, it's going to be at the top of this range that we're breaking into. You can see it on the left of your screen. That we're going to probably fill out this range. That's likely.
Yeah. I mean, my own personal first target for when it's like we might see. I mean, if it starts pumping here, then the first could be around 32K around here, just because of this top there and this bottom around here. And this is such a large area; it's hard to say. But looking at the fib levels that we've been using before, my argument is for 36 because that lines up with this where we bounced before. And a little bit of other volume. So there's a lot of volume in that area too. I mean, if it breaks that, then I think at that point, which I think is unlikely, would be like 48K, which seems just complete BS to me.
I mean, doesn't. No, it's not. It's
not BS, but it feels so unlikely at this point because that's 64%. I mean, it's not impossible or anything, but it just feels like it's too close for a bear market. At that point, it almost becomes a U shape at that point. And I'm not sure if I think that's going to be what we do here.
Well,
with the macro being what it is, it's like.
Well, we did that in, let's say, 2014, 15 was a U shape, a very, very U shape. And
that's true.
This may be, this market, the overall market has been way, way more akin to 2014 than it has been to sort of 2018, 19. It's so yes, we are seeing that kind of behavior where we really could see Bitcoin just start. This volume that we mentioned, which obviously has disappeared now, but it's clearly there that there are people willing to buy Bitcoin. That's not going to stop. And so over time, we're going to see this continual scooping and removal, and that is just going to push the price up. So on the back of what could happen is the back of on this macro backdrop is we could start to see Bitcoin really start to say, screw you, I don't really care. And it would actually start to behave like a volatile gold or a currency, a good currency. And it's just simply saying, I'm here. I don't care about the rest of you. I'm going to carry on doing what I do regardless. If you want to buy me, here I am. And it will be that simple. And yes, it'll crash when the S&P crashes, and yes, it'll move down when the dollar goes up. But overall, the bias of that of Bitcoin will remain, as it has been throughout its entire history, upwards, regardless of, more bullish than the macro backdrop. And so we talked a lot about the macro backdrop being terrible. I do think that there's going to be a collapse at some point, and Bitcoin will drop into that collapse with it. I also think it's going to absolutely god pump afterwards. So this is very much a, we've been fairly consistent in saying we're not sure on Bitcoin, going to the moon directly and not going lower or not crashing. We still think it's a great buy, and so say DCA is always going to remain sort of my primary, not financial advice for anybody who wants to start getting hold of some sats, is literally just buy them. Like, forget the noise, forget the charts, forget anything, just bloody buy it and then wait. And
it all depends on time frames too, like time preferences. Like if you're in this space and you don't really know what your time preference is, then you figure it out. Because if your time preference is, I'm going to buy Bitcoin now, I'm going to sell it in 2040, well, then just buy it now. It doesn't matter if it's 29K or 14K. Like, it makes no difference in 2040 when you retire and you have 2 Bitcoin or whatever to retire on. You're not going to care if you bought it at 29 or 20, right? Because at that point it will be worth millions, probably, hopefully. Don't quote me on that though. But it's like, if you know what your time preference is. My time preference is cyclical. It's like bear market, bull market peak, bear market bottom, bull market peak. That's my time preference, because I want to swing trade between those 2 peaks, as to the best of my abilities, obviously. But if you don't know what your time preference is, then you need to figure that out. That's like the first thing you need to figure out.
And I have multiple time preferences. I have.
Yeah, you have a bag for each preference.
I have a bag for the rest of my life, and I have a bag for the next the next couple of years, and I have a bag for the next few months or the next few weeks. It's not.
Yeah, it's like you have a hot portfolio, you have a swing portfolio, whatever you want to call that, and then you have like a hodl bag. Like,
pretty much. So,
well, we did actually get some good questions here, Rob, if you want to hear them, or actually it's more like statements. So Golden Goose actually said, I'm going to bring this up with our faces. Statistically, we're not in a bear market based on markets. That's very true. Like, we are officially in an uptrend, long-term uptrend, right? There's no denying that. So you're right, but we could be in a bear market uptrend. So a bear market, for me, I would argue that the bear market would be like this type of area. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That maybe that's a stupid argument, but we see bear market rallies in every bear market basically. And saying that we're not still in the bear market with all what the macro sentiment is saying is dangerous, maybe.
Dangerous.
But,
dangerous is the word. It's
not in a bear market.
Say not in a bear market based on market structure right now. Well, no. What time frame are we talking? If we're talking on the weekly or monthly, then we're still in the process of sort of turning these things around.
Turning the trend.
Yeah, on the daily, absolutely. This is not a bear market right now. This is but it could very well just be a relief rally within the bear market. As it stands, this is a short term. This could be a short-term bull within the longer-term bear, which is exactly what we saw in 2019.
Yeah, just making it super simple here with this. Look, I turn on the Bollinger Bands for the monthly, which tends to, see how it bounced on it here and then fell through, and that's when the bear market started, sort of, like, properly. This was just a downtrend, right? Just like we had here, downtrend. And once we cracked the Bollinger Bands here on the monthly, it just fell completely down. Currently, we're working ourselves up to get to the middle Bollinger Band to potentially, let's say, break out of the bear market. So for me, like I said, this area here, from the fib level and all the way down, this is the bear market for me, in my humble opinion, right? So bear market rally, sure, great. We even cracked through that in the previous bear market, but that ended the bear market, like that. But so that's my argument for that. We're still long term in the bear market. We're just rallying in it. So that's one thing. And then you actually said something very, very clever as well here, Golden Goose. I want to add that too. Bitcoin is built to hedge the macro sentiment. Rob?
The word...
I saw your face.
I wouldn't go with the word hedge, but I would say shake off. It's built in to be irrelevant what the macro sentiment is, because quite simply, Bitcoin's superior monetary properties mean it's that when everything else goes to shit, there is one thing that you can go, oh, actually, this is better, and more people are learning about that. So that is independent of the macro sentiment. Bitcoin doesn't hedge the macro sentiment because it basically follows it. We've spent the last year going in a downtrend along with the macro sentiment after 2 years of bull market where everything went up following the macro sentiment. Bitcoin very much follows the macro sentiment on a mid-term basis, in terms of months and years. In terms of weeks and months, but in terms of years, it just shakes off. The macro sentiment is irrelevant because it's an inferior product, and Bitcoin as the superior product will continue to gain users and adopters because it's good. Yep. We like Bitcoin on this channel.
Yeah. Have you ever heard about Bitcoin? But yes. So I would agree with everything there. I mean, it's still the market cap of Bitcoin is minuscule compared to, let's say, gold. Well, not minuscule, but it's much smaller than, I think it's a 20th of the gold market cap. And it's like, if you're gonna hedge against, if you want to go into hard assets and just for the sake of saving, your money from being completely destroyed, both short term and during, like, for a few years ahead, then maybe gold and Bitcoin are similar. The difference is that Bitcoin is probably a better investment, maybe, and it's probably going to be worth less for a while than what you put in if you put it in at the wrong price during a bear market. Because obviously that's the argument. Gold is the same as Bitcoin, but gold is crap compared to Bitcoin in terms of investment. It's hard money. They're both hard money, but Bitcoin is miles better as a hard money than for many reasons, which we can make an entire video about that. There's entire books about that. The Bitcoin Standard by Saifedean. Just go read it if you don't know what I'm talking about.
I feel like we need to do a video on it, don't we?
Yeah. It's gonna be so long. But maybe I should record. We could record a 24-hour long video of us discussing the properties of Bitcoin and why it's better than gold. And then we'd send it to what's the gold guy's name again? Peter Schiff.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just record a 24-hour video and just send it to him.
Oh yeah,
we send all the Harry Potter owls with VHS tapes of us talking about Bitcoin for 24 hours.
Peter Schiff, living in denial, USA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Something like that. But again, before we leave, this is the last thing I'm going to show you guys. Like I said, that candle was topping. This is the 1 hourly. I'm going to zoom in extra. Boring. Big pump. Maybe this is exit liquidity at this price. I don't know.
As well as this stands, we'll see where this candle ends up. But right now, it's very doji toppy.
I mean, you have a shooting star, which would suggest a topping signal. This is just hourly, right? So this could change. Obviously, we could come back and test it and things like that. But like, we have a huge candle, we have a huge wick. This might be some exit liquidity for a coming downturn. back to 25-3, possibly. That's my
Could be.
thoughts here, because
we definitely could get a fake out, and it just rolls over. It's not, and this is the problem with breakout trading, is it can be very sketchy at times. And now it's like, if you're going to try and take a position because this is a breakout, well, it's for me and you, it's the evening time. Like, how long do you sit and wait and watch before you go, okay, now I have to set my stop loss and go to bed, and then you wake up in the morning and you stopped it.
Yeah, no, but like, if we're gonna do just this quickest thing, if this we talked about this earlier, if this candle closes, which it looks like it will, because it's only 20 minutes left on this 4-hourly candle, if it closes above this, that's good. If it closes above this, it's even better. But as you could see on the hourly, it's starting to kind of, it came up here and then it's starting to turn down.
Yeah.
And if this candle is green and the next one starts to get red, we're gonna need a lot of work on that red candle to make it engulfing. But
I don't think that's going in engulf.
That doesn't stop, this candle from being engulfed by a red candle on the way down either, which is shorter term going to be more of a signal down. But yeah, and RSI, by the way, on the hourly is topping out for sure. But that's it. I think that's all I have. And unless Rob wants to sing a song to end the stream or something, which I doubt. But
no,
and then we stop. Fantastic. All right, guys. Well, that's it for now. We ran a little bit longer this time, but that's fine. We'll see you in the next one. And don't forget, share this with everybody you've ever known. You know the deal. Like, subscribe, all these things. Join the Discord, and we'll see you in there. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Right.
Cool.
Cheers. Bye.